Blake Lively is about to take the stand, and it could change everything. But what if this bold legal move is the very thing that takes her down? In a case tangled with A-list power, behind-the-scenes manipulation, and rumors of corporate retaliation, Blake's decision to testify has sent shockwaves through Hollywood. But the deeper you look, the messier it gets. Because this isn't just about justice, it's about pride, power, and possibly revenge. Let's dive into one of the most volatile scandals brewing in celebrity circles today. When Blake's legal team made the announcement, they were confident. Too confident, some say. They declared that Blake Lively herself would testify, that she would face her accusers directly, that she wasn't afraid. For some, it felt like a power move, like Blake was saying, "I've got nothing to hide." But legally, it was risky, very risky, because testifying doesn't just mean telling your side of the story, it means opening yourself up to cross-examination. Every word, every inflection, every inconsistency will be analyzed, televised, dissected by pundits and fans alike. And here's the part that shocked insiders. Blake is a public figure who's managed to stay relatively scandal-free for over a decade. Her brand is built on likability, trust, control. By stepping into court, under oath, she's gambling that all of that will hold up. Not just legally, but emotionally, in front of a jury. There's another theory, too. Some insiders believe the announcement that she'll testify is just a bluff, a strategy to gain leverage in settlement talks. In other words, they might be pretending they're going to trial to force the other side's hand. But if that's the case, the clock is ticking, because once discovery begins, there's no turning back. And if there are any skeletons in the closet, they're about to come out. At the core of this lawsuit is a single explosive claim that Blake Lively and her team retaliated against Justin Baldoni after he challenged her behavior on set. Retaliation. That's a heavy word. Legally, it implies malicious intent. It means someone used their power or influence to punish another person, usually for speaking out. In court documents, Baldoni alleges that after he raised concerns about how certain people were being treated on the project, Blake didn't just push him away. She launched a calculated campaign to destroy his career. His lawyers say there are emails, texts, and calls that will show how quickly doors started closing for him after the conflict with Blake. Production opportunities vanished. Studio interest disappeared. Meetings were canceled without explanation. But Blake's side isn't backing down. In fact, they're doing the opposite. Her team says that not only is the retaliation claim baseless, it's backwards. They argue that Baldoni is the one who became aggressive, that he started a whisper campaign to paint Blake as difficult in an effort to cover up his own misconduct. It's a he said, she said situation at the highest level of celebrity power. And with no clear villain or victim, it's up to the court to figure out who's actually telling the truth. He's one of the most bankable stars in Hollywood, a Deadpool, a business mogul, a master of sarcasm. And now, possibly, a witness. Ryan Reynolds has largely stayed silent about his wife's legal battle, but that silence might not last much longer. According to reports, Ryan could be subpoenaed. Why? Because some of the claims involve his involvement, direct or indirect, in the alleged retaliation campaign. Specifically, it's alleged that Ryan may have used his own connections at Disney and other studios to help isolate Baldoni. One theory? That after a tense confrontation between Blake and Baldoni, Ryan used his clout to ensure Baldoni's projects were quietly deprioritized. The other bombshell? A recent animated film Ryan co-wrote and starred in featured Blake Lively didn't just fight this legal battle with her lawyers, she fought it with her friends. Big ones. Soon after the lawsuit became public, Blake made several public appearances alongside her tight-knit circle. Taylor Swift, Gigi Hadid, even Beyoncé at one point. Social media was flooded with photos. Comments were subtle, but loaded, supportive tweets, subtle reposts, heart emojis under ambiguous quotes. And then it happened. Her lawyer, Brian Friedman, used the term celebrity. Dragons. He accused the opposing side of trying to intimidate Blake by unleashing their own influence, only for Blake to respond with her own celebrity support. To outsiders, it looked like a battle of the PR elites. But in the courtroom, that kind of high-profile backing can backfire because the moment you bring in celebrity support, the court starts asking, why are you trying to sway the public? Are you afraid of what the evidence actually says? The opposing side claims Blake used her platform and her famous friends to poison the well, to manipulate public perception before a single piece of hard evidence was shown. And if the jury starts to believe that too, it could turn sympathy into suspicion. Fast. For a case built on allegations of retaliation, there's one thing everyone keeps asking: where's the proof? Blake's team insists it's there, that once the case moves into full discovery, they'll unleash a treasure trove of emails, texts, and contracts that paint a clear picture of workplace mistreatment and power plays. But so far, they haven't produced anything definitive. Legal experts are concerned because without hard evidence, without a paper trail, the case becomes a battle of credibility. And courts don't like speculation. The opposing legal team has leaned into this weakness. They've repeatedly challenged Blake's side to show the receipts. So far, crickets. And the longer the silence continues, the more it hurts Blake's credibility. Some analysts are even speculating that Blake's team might not have solid evidence at all, that they're hoping pressure and public sympathy will force a settlement before things get to trial. If that's true, it's a dangerous strategy. Because if this case goes forward without undeniable proof, it could all unravel. Publicly, here's where things get weird, even for Hollywood. In late 2024, Ryan Reynolds released a major animated feature with a striking character named Nice. The character was overbearing. He gave faux TED Talks. He bragged about emotional sensitivity while exploiting those around him. Critics loved it. But Hollywood insiders saw something else: a brutal caricature of Justin Baldoni. Multiple sources from the animation team have since come forward anonymously, claiming it was an open secret that the character was based on Baldoni. If that's true, it's a massive problem. Because using a Disney-backed project to settle personal scores could not only open up defamation claims, it could implicate the studio in the alleged retaliation. Imagine this: a lawsuit about blacklisting that ends with Disney dragged into court. Blake and Ryan have both denied the connection. But in Hollywood, subtext is everything, and juries can be just as influenced by implication as they are by fact. Was it just a coincidence? Or a multi-million-dollar middle finger? Even if Blake wins in court, there's a bigger question looming. Will the public still trust her? Reputation is everything in Hollywood. And right now, Blake's is being tested like never before. There's a growing perception, especially on social media, that she's trying to play both sides, that she wants to be the fearless truth teller while still controlling the narrative, that she's weaponizing charm and connections rather than relying on evidence and truth. And the internet doesn't forget. If this trial continues and more cracks appear in her story, if jurors or the public begin to see her not as a victim, but as a